like to do today is to first of all welcome everyone that has taken the time from their busy lives, but most importantly, to celebrate community that makes us one. And as many of you know, what's happened in the last week was a very tragic event. And it is not the first time this event has happened. But this is something that we need to stop and ensure that it doesn't happen again. So what I ask of you today is to join me in remembering those that have been lost in this last week, not only with the Sikh community, but unfortunately, these times right now are with the Sikh community because this is the last, you could say the last 75 families that are left. These are sad times, but this is not an issue of only the Sikh community. We know that. And we also know this issue has been there for many minorities in Afghanistan, whether they were the Sikh families, the Hindu families, the Hazara, the Christian, the Buddhists. But at the end of the day, what matters is that we take action, we help and support the communities, we stand together, and most importantly, we use our connections, our resources, and our influence to protect them while they're trying to find ways to find a way to exit, whether it is to find a solution. But at the most important thing today, I ask of all of you is to be standing in solidarity, to stand with support for one another, whether we're Sikh, whether we're Muslim, whether we're Nanakpanthi, whether we're Hindu, most importantly that we stand together. And that is my request. So before we continue further, I would really like if everybody could take a moment of silence. Thank you so much. So the first person today that's going to join us is going to start off our peace prayer and with some thoughts is Jasbir Singh Bhatia, but he's also one of the founding members of Vikram Bridges, so with the Interfaith community of Central Florida.
Thank you all for organizing the online vigil to express our solidarity with the Sikhs and other minorities in Afghanistan who are suffering from persistent violence by ISIS and giving me the opportunity to be a part of it. Let us pray. O Supreme Being, Lord, Creator and Sustainer of the universe, the world is in turmoil. Hurling speak with disease and violence. Save it with your mercy and benevolent hand. Jagat Jalanda rakh laye apni kirpa tar, jit dware ubre titte leho umar. In thy realm, there is no room for hatred and violence in your name. We're all part of your creation. Abul Allah Noor Paya Kudrat ke sab bande. Ek noor te sab jag upjaya, kaun pale, kaun mande. We are deeply aggrieved by the senseless violence due to religious hatred against the small Sikh and Hindu community in Afghanistan, the people who are the original natives of that country. The recent killing of many men, women, and children while they were performing prayer service in a Sikh temple is shocking. No religion can ever condone this. No God can ever be pleased by killing of innocent people. And nothing can be achieved by these acts except creating more and more hatred. May divine wisdom of love and peace prevail. We appeal to the Afghanistan government and powers of the world to ensure safety and freedom of Sikhs and other minorities in Afghanistan and help create peace in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to now invite Dr. Siddiqui to share a few thoughts of his own. He is a renowned scholar. He is the religious director of the largest mosque in Orange County, the Islamic Society of Orange County. Please welcome Dr. Siddiqui to share his thoughts and prayers of peace for all of us.
Good evening. Peace be unto all of you. Assalamu alaikum. May peace and blessings of God upon all of you. I'm thankful that you invited me and a number of people from the Interfaith community in this vigil. I want to express our sorrow, our condolences for the families, for the Sikh community of Kabul and Sikh community around the world, especially here in Orange County. It is important to understand that we all human beings are the children of the same parent, Adam and Eve. God created us all from this family of Adam and Eve, so every human being, regardless of their colors and races and religions, they are one family. Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhan nasu inna khalaqnakum min zakarin wa unsa وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلِيمٌ خَبِيرٌ. O mankind, we created you from a male and a female, and we made you races and tribes so that you may know each other, not to condemn each other. Verily, the noblest of you in the sight of God are those who are the most righteous among you. It is a sin and a crime to kill any innocent person, and especially people who are worshipping and people who in their home, in their place of worship. That is the most heinous crime, and that is the greatest sin. So we strongly condemn those who did this crime. This is senseless murder, massacre that took place. And we pray to God to bless the families, bless the communities, and to bring peace and harmony in the world. May God remove the virus of violence, as we pray that God remove the virus of corona from the world. This is a horrible thing that are happening, and especially at this time our hearts are so much involved in this, that whole humanity is going through a very difficult time. So we pray to God to remove this curse from the world, and especially the relation should become better relation between all people. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
And I would like now to share this next inspiration with our dear sister and friend Ishmeet Nurullah, if she can share a poem or two to share her sentiments as being a musician and an artist, often from the Sufi, Sikh, and Bollywood experience. She has brought together many different forms of the arts, and I'm very proud to have her here today and to share some of her poetry and inspiration with us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ishmeet Nurullah. Namaste, salam, good evening, good morning to everybody, whoever is with us from all over the world. This is a very sad time for the Sikh community and the community of humanity in general, because whatever has happened, like Dr. Siddiqui said, it is the most heinous crime of killing innocent people right at the place of their worship. It could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody else. Tomorrow, touchwood, a family member of yours So we all need to stand together against these kind of crimes. And I just wanted to mention that Sikhism is a religion of peace. Our guru specifically has really famous, poetry pieces like Aval Allah Noor Upaya Kudrat ke sab bande ek noor te sab jag upjya kaun bhale ko mande. So we all have originated from the one divine power, and we must obey to the one divine power. This all the religions, they all go to the same path. And I also wanted to mention, I'm sorry I don't have a head cover right now, but that doesn't stop me from reciting my guru's words. And he says, कोई बोले राम 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 राम, कोई बोले राम राम, कोई खुदाए है, कोई सेवै गुसैया, कोई अलाए अलाए, कारण करन करी, कृपा तार रहीम रहीम. That means the Kareem, my Rahim, everything is being run by him. We all are his kids, so we must obey that. And secondly, coming to the point of being an artist, we don't understand, as a community of artists, we don't understand why these differences are even there. We as Indian artists love Pakistani music or Afghani music or the world music in total, in all, and we don't understand why this all happens. Why can't we live in peace? And if all the organizations around the world, even if it's Sikh organizations or there are Muslim organizations, Hindu organizations, if you're listening today, please stand with us in solidarity and let's help solve this problem. There are only a few families left in Afghanistan. Let's bring them to peace. Let's let them live. They are families just like ours. We are privileged to be in such safe environments. How can we help them? How can we solve their problem? And today we're going to get to the resources, what we need to do, the plan of action will be discussed here. So we all will follow that. Thank you so much.
So there's some newcomers joining the call. I really appreciate that you're joining, and thank you for the messages. I'm seeing the messages coming through, so thank you very much. And again, Sat Sri Akal, Assalamu Alaikum, Namaste to all those brothers and sisters that are joining. I would like to invite James Coffin, the Executive Director of Interfaith Council of Central Florida.
I just want to say that it's with sadness that I'm participating in this event tonight, but it's also with a spirit of joy in the fact that human beings come together in times of difficulty and they pull together and they support each other. One of the Hebrew commands is that we bind up the brokenhearted. And this is certainly a time of brokenheartedness. And it's particularly tragic when we see how frequently this kind of thing happens and how in some communities it's repeated over and over again. I became the director of the Interfaith Council of Central Florida 8 years ago. And one of the very first events that we did was a memorializing of those who lost their lives in Wisconsin in the Sikh Gurdwara there. And since that time, Jews have been killed in synagogues, Muslims have been killed in mosques, Baha'is have been persecuted. There has been so much of this kind of thing goes on. And it's the work of people like those who are participating in this program tonight who can make a difference, because it may be a slow and uphill battle, but when we demonstrate that it's possible for us to live together in peace, it does ultimately make a difference. And people tend to see that. Very often, I believe the
the reason that these kind of things happen is because of ignorance. Hatred is really based on ignorance. I like the words of Guru Nanak when he says that it is owing to the ignorance of the rope that the rope appears to be a snake. And so to some people who don't really understand what it is that they see in other human beings, they see an enemy when they really should see a friend. And it's our responsibility to live in such a way that we show that there can be friendships that cross all boundaries, whether it be religious boundaries, ethnic boundaries, racial boundaries, socioeconomic boundaries, and that we can work together as a result. And so as an interfaith council, we certainly seek to do this. And one of our shared values is that every human has innate value and deserves to be treated justly and with dignity and respect. And when they haven't been treated that way, then those of us who hold that value need to go even more out of our way to try not only to help the hurting, but to heal the misconceptions of the people who engage in such activities. And it's my prayer as a Christian minister that all faith traditions will work together to achieve these goals. And I thank those of you who have put on this panel for putting forth such effort that such goals might be reached. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim. It's always so promising and so heartwarming when you're there with us. And thank you for representing the Interfaith Council of Central Florida. We really appreciate that for you for coming. I will request, I believe the Sukh Dhaliwal from the Canadian Parliament has joined. And we'd love to hear his thoughts and understand what is in the works and what are the thoughts of the Canadian government.
Thank you, and thank you everyone. Assalamu alaikum, Sat Sri Akal, and Namaste. Good evening. Now this is a tremendously sad moment for people who believe in humanity across the globe. Not only the Sikhs, because anyone that I'm talking to, whether it's Sikh, Hindu, Muslim, everyone is concerned about this act of terrorism. Whether it's happening in Afghanistan, this particular example, Gurdwara, and whether it's happening in Quebec, a mosque or a synagogue or a church, anywhere. So this is not acceptable, right? According to Canadian value, according to our human values. Now, moving forward, our focus right now is, as elected representatives, is to make sure that we are able to take the voice of the community to the parliament. People like Harjeet from British Columbia, Sajjan, Randeep Sarai, we are all working to achieve what Manmeet Pullar started. Manmeet Pullar Foundation, his vision was to bring every Afghani Sikh and Hindu who wanted to move out of Afghanistan to come to Canada, through India. He has taken some people to Punjab, and some of them has come to Canada, and that our government has hoped to get it happen. And there's some others that are still waiting there in India. And I have had the opportunity to talk to Minister Marco Mancino here as well. And as soon as this COVID-19 situation goes away, and we will make sure that we are able to bring the rest of the fellows that are in Punjab or India to Canada. And the rest right now, we're trying to find out the sponsors, the private sponsors, and also would like to see the ones that are in Afghanistan that want to move out of Afghanistan to register with the UNHRC, so as they are given the refugee status, and then we will be able to facilitate bringing them to Canada. And I'm certain that if any member of parliament that was on this panel, he or she will feel the same. And every person that has been asked to take this cause to the minister is working hard. And I have also talked to Minister Sajjan as well. And Minister Sajjan has made sure that he is going to in touch with his counterpart, Minister of Defense in Afghanistan, so as in the immediate future, these people are secure and their businesses are secure and safe. And I express my condolences and my sincere prayers are with all that has been the victim of this terrorism attack. And I want to thank each and every one of you for participating, and particularly Patia, you as taking the lead to put this vigil together.
Oh, thank you, Virgie, very much. I think, it is a collaborative effort. As I feel very much in my heart, it's never a one-person team. It is a complete effort from those that are able to move policy and make changes. And then there's those that are grassroots that can be on the ground and take action. And it is a combination of all of us that will make our communities better. And it definitely requires us to be beyond borders. As we've seen from the coronavirus, sadly, we have hopefully learned one thing, if nothing else, that we are all human first. And when terror happens, we must always stand united and know that it could happen to any of us anytime. And the coronavirus, if nothing else, has hopefully reminded many. I'm very disheartened to see that is not the case for our brothers and sisters who were terribly, there's so many words. I mean, terrorized, killed, traumatized, children lost their families and parents lost their children. There's just no words for this, but it is people like us that will bring this forward. And I know, again, for some of you, it's getting a little late. I do want to bring on another organization from the Sikh community that is working towards this cause. The Jinder Puller is the member representing the Puller Foundation of Canada, who has been at work on this subject for some time. And we'd like for her to share her thoughts, even though we can't act at this moment. We encourage everybody that's watching to look at the link that's in the description that will give the contacts for each of these organizations and the efforts they're making so you can get involved. So she'll tell you about what she's doing and what she might need in a way of help. So please welcome the Jinder Puller.
Thank you so much for having me on. First of all, my deepest condolences to those that have lost their life and the family and friends that are left behind, whether it was a young child or an elder within the community. They are so deeply missed, I'm sure, by their loved ones. Thank you for the Member of Parliament, Mr. Sukhtalwal, who has given some frame of reference for some of the work that we've been doing. For background purposes, many people came to know of this situation only about 5 days ago, but this is a project that we have been working on for the last 5 years. In the summer of 2015, my brother, Manmeet Singh Puller, found out about the issues that the Afghan minorities were facing in Afghanistan. And he, at that point, decided that this was the most important work that he could do. So over the course of several months, he traveled around the world and around Canada to speak to community organizations, to gurdwaras, to elected officials, regardless of what level of government and what political party, to say that these minorities that are being persecuted on a daily basis needed our help. I have to say that when I saw this attack happen over the last few days, I almost feel like there is a sense of blood on some of our hands because we have sat still on a situation which he tried for so long to elevate to the level that it is being elevated and spoken about now. So, you know, many people say that in God's house, sometimes there is a delay, but the light finally shines. Perhaps that is what is happening now. In 2015, when he started this project, we focused on the province of Helmand, Afghanistan, because that place at that time was the most critical and in the most amount of danger for the people that lived there. So we knew that direct entry from Afghanistan into Canada was not an option at that moment. And the primary focus was to provide these families with safety. Therefore, one by one, these families were taken to India. In India, they were given food, shelter, clothing, education, and eventually, some of them have landed here in Canada. Roughly 250 people made the trek over to India, and so that amounts to about 65 families. At this moment, about 16 families have started to call Canada their home. This has been done through private sponsorship processes through the Government of Canada, with the generous support of people in our community that have stepped up and said, yes, I am willing to donate money, I am willing to donate housing, I am willing to donate jobs to these people so that when they come here, the burden is not on any one particular level of government, but it is a shared responsibility. Our foundation came to be in 2015. For some people that may not know, my brother started this project, but God had other plans for him. And so in November of 2015, my brother passed away. He said to anyone that was willing to listen that this project was his life's most important work. And I want to commend the people that have listened to us. We have had community support. We have had government support. There are members in Parliament that have been there for us, taken our calls, met with us in person, helped us figure out the barriers that exist within the private sponsorship refugee program. I would say to anyone that is listening right now, the goal is that they need to come out of the immediate danger. If the option to come to a place like Canada or the United States is not happening right now because of the COVID crisis and because there is so much international turmoil that everyone is dealing with, the primary goal should be to take these people away from Afghanistan. So whether that is India or maybe Pakistan, wherever they can find refuge, I believe that is a life-saving step that needs to take place. Direct entry is very important. It can be very valuable and it can help speed up this process, but nothing is more valuable than life itself. And so therefore, I would say if it needs to be prioritized, the first thing that needs to happen is get them into a different country, and then we can work with them through the private sponsorship of refugee program that we have. If in the meantime, we are able to establish a direct entry program and a quicker program and process, that is a win. Lastly, I will say, you asked in terms of what we need as an organization right now. We need people to step up and become private sponsorship refugee applicant holders for us, so that you provide us with funding, you provide us with in-kind support. Each family that we sponsor is roughly $36,000 Canadian that we require, and we put into a trust fund for that family. Part of that can be done through in-kind, but a very large amount of that needs to be in a financial donation that we then, as a charitable foundation, put in a trust account, and we show the government that we have the funds and the means to take care of this family when they arrive in Canada. The Manmeet Singh Bhullar Foundation is a charitable foundation registered with the Canadian Revenue Agency. Everything that we spend is transparent. Everything that we do has been shared openly and honestly with the community, because for us, our only goal is to complete what our brother, son, and my sister-in-law's husband started as his life's most important work. So anyone that is willing and wanting to assist our organization, please go to the website, themsbf.ca. And I will say to anyone listening, we at this time do not have the means to logistically or safely send funds to Afghanistan. Sending funds to Afghanistan is a challenge in terms of the safety of the people that are there. And by our rules as a charitable organization in Canada, we are unable to do so. But I do urge you to learn more at themsbf.ca and assist us in our process of private sponsorship. Currently, we still have families in India who have left Afghanistan but need sponsors in order to come to Canada. And then eventually, if we are able to assist these other families from Afghanistan, this is a potential process that we can follow. Of course, we need to find out how many families still exist in Afghanistan, because it seems that different people have different numbers. But I would urge anyone on this call, whether you are a government official, a nonprofit organization, or someone that has direct links to anyone in Afghanistan, please leave Afghanistan so that you are as safe as you possibly can be. I will say it in Punjabi too. Veero Pano, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਅਫਗਾਨਿਸਤਾਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਉਹ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਠੀਕ। ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਮਸਤਕ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ, ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਜਾਓ, ਇੰਡੀਆ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਜਾਓ, ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਜਾਓ, ਐਂਡ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਪਰ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਅਫਗਾਨਿਸਤਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਛੱਡ ਜਾਓ, so that ਤੁਸੀਂ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਠੀਕ ਰਹਿਣ। Thank you.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. As I said, that I think it's very hard sometimes when we're not aware of the realities on the ground. And I think you've pointed out some very good realities for us to be very much aware of. Specifically, it's very hard for organizations from here directly to send funds there unless they're already established and have a partnering organization there. Number two, it is best to go to exit. It is harder to come straight to the United States. So I think that's another takeaway from your organization's insights. And most importantly, it sounds like to me that we have to work together with other organizations, maybe from the Muslim community or the Afghan community, to really help us in making this possible. So thank you so much for that. And I know you have you had to leave. I appreciate that you stayed on this long. Your information is in the resource sheet that is on the event page, as well as the detailed descriptions of this event on Facebook. So everybody can see all the details of each organization listed in that resource sheet. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you to everyone that has taken on this cause.
Thank you. I would like to now invite Hassam Mailoush. He's the head of CARE California and the executive director of the CARE LA office. He has been so far a lovely person to talk to and been so supportive of our community. And I'm sure he has many thoughts he'd like to share. So please welcome Hassam Mailoush.
Good evening. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Namaste. Thank you for having me. I would have loved to have met you, Harbir, and everybody else under different, much better circumstances. It just breaks my heart that we had to meet that way, but I can tell you, I express on my own behalf as Hassam Mailoush, but also on behalf of the American Muslim community, our sincerest condolences. Our hearts and our eyes, bleed and are tearing because of the horrible incident, tragedy, massacre that happened in Kabul. Express the condolences of the American Muslim community to all our brothers and sisters, neighbors, friends, partners in the Sikh community in Kabul, in Afghanistan, in Punjab, in America itself. There are truly no words to express our sympathy, and I know the pain is too unbearable, but if anything, rest assured, we stand together as one. one community, it's one human race. I can say that as someone who deals with the Sikh community literally almost every day. Every time there has been an attack on the Muslim community here or abroad, among the first people to come and express solidarity and support to the American Muslim community had been our brothers and friends and sisters in the Sikh community. So the least we can do is continue to be together in these difficult moments and remind ourselves there will be good times, there will be better times. You know, I'm not an Afghan, but I work closely with the Afghan people, among the sweetest, nicest people. The people who committed this heinous crime, this horrific crime, certainly do not represent the Afghan people, certainly do not represent the Islamic faith. They represent their own ideology, their own interpretation, their own political views of extremism, of hatred, of intolerance. And that's why it's extremely important that we stand together. You know, as we unequivocally condemn the act itself, the crimes, you know, 3 crimes have happened just over the last few days against the Sikh community. It's important to also remember that these same criminals have not only targeted the minorities in Afghanistan, but they've targeted everybody. I mean, my parents are originally from Syria. I can tell you these ISIS criminals, 99% of their victims had been Sunni Muslims who, you know, these criminals claim to represent, and they certainly don't represent. So I wanted you to know, I want everybody to know that we stand together in the face of the criminal murder of ISIS, but also of all forms of intolerance. You know, unfortunately, what we're witnessing today, a growing voice of fascism, of intolerance, whether it's political or religious or national, around the world. And we cannot protect innocent people. We cannot protect our brothers and sisters from all faith backgrounds unless we stand up, as my brother from New York said, and I forgot his name, forgive me for that, our Christian pastor said, the reason it's important for us to stand together is, one, to express solidarity with the victim, to let them know you're not alone. It breaks my heart that we're talking now about securing the lives of the few families left, Sikh families in Afghanistan, which is the right thing to do. But I hope that they will come back, and I hope they will come back to their country where they have always been welcomed among their brothers and sisters of other faith communities. We stand in solidarity. We will isolate the voices of extremism. We will stand together as humanity, and we'll say to these people, you do not represent anybody but yourselves. You have no support among anybody else. We are here together, and hopefully we will prevail this difficult time. Please let us know how we can be of help as individuals, but also as a community. You've stood with us, and we will always stand by you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of this vigil. And I look forward to more actions that we can do, hopefully, to help those who are stranded and unfortunately, facing death, trauma, and intimidation at the hands of these extremist, fanatic people.
Thank you so much. Those are very true and very heartfelt and very passionate words. And I hope that everybody can feel those words from their own heart as they reflect on what's happened here. I wanted to share some pictures with you because I felt you may wanted to know what was this region like before and some of these families that were here. So Salman Alam Khan was supposed to join, but he and a couple others that were supposed to join from Pakistan and also Afghanistan, like Anarkali Honaria, who's a senator, is still not being able to log in. So in the meantime, I will show you the material they have sent us so you can get a sense of what they have experienced last year when this Gurdwara was intact, and then now what's happened today, as you know. I'd like to show you some of these photos so you get a sense of what was really going on there. Salman Alam Khan is a filmmaker who is working on a film directed by Amardeep Singh and Sikh Lens, and it is called Allegory. It is tracing the footsteps of Guru Nanak all across his travels, which is roughly around 17,000 miles. And in their visit last year, and this was just last year, they had gone to this family and observed them. And this is the Gurdwara they lived in. They're not even able to afford to get support to help them fix up the Gurdwara because they are that poor. But that is not the case for only Sikh families. That is, of course, a problem for many. But this is the same people at the same Gurdwara that is now destroyed. And many of these individuals you're going to see are now gone. These are the folks they sat with last year to have langar at their homes. Together, the Muslim and the Sikh community together at the Gurdwara had a meal. And these folks now are gone. If this film was not being made, who would have captured these moments and recorded the fact that these families lived together in what they considered not their Gurdwara only, but also their home? I mean, this is so heartfelt. I can't tell you that when you look at them and recognize that they are no more, how important this effort was for this team to go and record those steps. And if they hadn't, who would be there left now to talk about their stories? This is the community with their local soldiers that come and support them, that was their armed guards that took Salman and Amardeep Veer across Afghanistan to trace those steps. And these families are those that are very much not here anymore with us. This gentleman in another city of Afghanistan came up to Amardeep and with joy and said, "This is where a Gurdwara stood, but you are my brother. We must create another one." So this is not all Afghanis. This is those ISIS, as Hassan mentioned, that are the rare and the few, but they are affecting the love and the independence and the freedom and security of the many. And that is not okay. And we are the many when all of us minorities stand together. We are no longer the few. We become the many. And that is what we really need to do here today. This is another Gurdwara in which Salman shared a photo of the attacks that have happened years again and again and again, over and again. And this Gurdwara is now left empty. This Gurdwara, by the sheer picture, you can see how large this Gurdwara might be. And this is just to give you a perspective. So this is not just a story of just Kabul, but this is a story of a tragedy that has been going on for years and decades and generations amongst the minorities of that region by sometimes Taliban, sometimes ISIS. But again, they are the minority, but we need to stand up as a majority by uniting together on events like this and saying we cannot take this no more. My heart is broken thinking about the fact that there are just 75 to 100 families left. Once upon a time, there were 200,000 people. Are we going to stand by and let that happen? Are we going to stand by and let those last 75 that are pure Afghan disappear into the dirt? I hope not, because what happened last week should break anybody's heart. A bomb blew off, attacks happened, and yet these people are still traumatized because they're still under attack. They were shot at and bombed at the Gurdwara last week. They went to the funeral home. There were bombs set at the funeral home so they could not even grieve. And then the day after, they came back to the Gurdwara and they were bombed again. And now there's rumors that there's actually landmines in the floors of the people that actually live in their homes and surrounding the Gurdwara, so they can't even go anywhere. So I don't know what else to say except this is a choice we have. And let's not be the minority and let's be the majority by standing together. So thank you for letting me share my moments, my thoughts on Salman's and Amardeep's trip, so you get a perspective of what was and what is now. And I will now move to the next person on our list, and we are so behind schedule due to the delays and of folks being able to access from all across the world. We do apologize, but I hope you will stay with us and allow us to finish this. I would like to now invite Javed Kotwal from the Afghans living in DC. Javed is the community leader of Afghan Americans in the larger DC area. And he's the founder of ALDC. And I believe they're a strong organization that is not only lobbying for just one community of the Afghans, but many. So please welcome Javed.
Thank you very much. Let me thank you all for organizing this virtual vigil on a short notice under such circumstances. As the other panelist mentioned, I wish we had met under better circumstances than this. The Afghan Sikhs and Hindus are the integral part of our larger Afghan community over there, as well as here in the United States. And on behalf of the Afghan community here in DC and beyond, and the Afghans living in the United States, I would like to express my heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims of this heinous crime, as well as to the larger Sikh community around the world. As Hossam mentioned, Afghans are some of the most hospitable people in the world, and we have never looked at the Sikh and Hindu brothers and sisters as the other, and neither did they. They've always referred to them as themselves as Afghans, or if we push them a little more, they would say Afghan Sikh or Afghan Hindus, to the point that when they migrated to the West, as you mentioned, there's an association of Afghan Hindus and Sikh in the DC metropolitan area that we often visit. We celebrate our joy and we mourn our losses. I was there last time under similar circumstances when about 20 Sikh and Hindu brothers and sisters were killed in Jalalabad, and we went to express our condolences. And I talked to a few members who shocked me. They told me that many of the families that stayed behind, that loved the country and the people where they belonged, had the means to come to Canada, had the means to go to India or Pakistan, but they declined to leave the country behind because they considered Afghanistan to be their homeland and they didn't want to go. They even didn't like it when people told them, go back to India. They said, we're not from India, we're Afghans. So their sense of patriotism was amazing, and it still is. I hope it doesn't change, but I do understand that safety and security comes first. If they wish to leave Afghanistan and there's no security guarantees, then I hope, I wish them well, but I would really, really hate to see our hearts bleed to see this vibrant, peaceful, and service-oriented and patriotic community leave Afghanistan. I know some panelists will talk about their contributions to our larger society, but one of the biggest contributions that they have left the marks on in Afghanistan is their sense of service. I remember last year during Ramadan, during the Muslim holidays of Ramadan, when Jalalabad is very hot, the Sikh community would distribute ice and hot food during iftar time. Remember, this is the same city where months ago, 20 of them were killed, but they were still there for their Muslim brothers, for their Afghan brothers and sisters. So they have done so much to the Afghan community, to Afghanistan itself, that it's gonna be hard for us, almost impossible for the Afghans to compensate. And I wish there was anything we could do. I call upon all of you to count us in. We are all in this together. We share the pain, and we are in solidarity with our Sikh and Hindu brothers. If there's anything the Afghan community in the US can do to make their lives more peaceful, and better. We're there for them. So I appreciate what you guys are doing, and thank you very much for the opportunity given to me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you're joining and sharing your thoughts. It means so much to us. And I hope that your organization, having the kind of influence it does, may work together with the other organizations that are putting all this effort in. I think we need to all combine hands. So thank you so much.
Definitely. You're welcome.
So I would like to invite Vaka Seuss. He's a board member of Shura Council of Southern California, to share his thoughts with us.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Thank you, Herbir, for for the invitation, for the kind invitation, and Sat Shri Akal to all the panelists as well as the attendees. This is indeed a very unfortunate moment to get together, but on behalf of the Shura Council of Southern California, an umbrella organization that represents over 80 Muslim organizations and places of worship, we express our deepest condolences. We believe these attacks are appalling. We extend our condolences to the families of the victims. Our thoughts and prayers are with them in this difficult time. We also urge the Afghan government to bring the perpetrators to justice. We also remind everyone about, especially the Muslim community in Afghanistan and elsewhere, about the injunction from our holy book, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the justice, the importance of justice, where he says, and were it not that Allah checks the people, some by means of others, there would have been demolished monasteries, churches, synagogues, and mosques in which the name of Allah is much mentioned, and Allah will surely support those who support him. This mindless violence is detrimental to Afghanistan's struggle for an equal and inclusive society. And we also call on everybody in authority in that country to protect the rights of minorities and their religious institutions and their rights to live and worship in safety. One aspect, many aspects of the Sikh community were mentioned by my fellow panelists earlier. One aspect I would like to mention was the sense of justice among the Sikh community. Myself coming from India, we remember very well about the way the Sikh community stood shoulder to shoulder with the minorities that were fighting for their equal rights and citizenship, or struggle protesting in the last few months right before the coronavirus crisis came up. They stood along with Muslims, along with Christians, along with everyone to voice their support for the rights of the minorities. We also recall the camps that the Sikh community from India had opened for the Rohingya community or the refugees in Bangladesh that came from severe persecution in Burma, despite the threats of being labeled as supporters of terrorism by some in the government of India. So this strong sense of justice and support for the rights of those who are persecuted is something that we hold very dear. And on behalf of our council and over 80 member organizations that are involved in issues of social service, advocacy, social justice, we urge the Sikh community in United States as well as California to reach out to us with any request, whether it be legal, financial, refugee assistance. We are here to help. Our offices, our staff, they are at your disposal. we would fully support the Sikh community at this moment. And once again, I'd like to thank the organizers for having us here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for offering your support and access to your office. That's, again, first step and really big step for all of us to continue working together. So thank you for that. I think we also have with us, and I'm very happy to say, another member of the community. She is Marwa Latif. She's the co-founder of AMO, Afghan American Muslim Organization. She was once upon a time an anchor, and today she will be gracing her with her thoughts and some poetry.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
As an Afghan American, first and foremost, I'd like to extend my deepest sympathy and condolences to my fellow Afghan brothers and sisters living in Afghanistan. The news really saddened my heart. It hit home because my parents are from Afghanistan. They were there, born and raised. And whenever I hear stories about Afghanistan, when I went to visit Afghanistan, what I hear in the news today, or what I heard in the news when all this was unfolding, it was definitely not something that I could have imagined by any stretch of imagination. We are all brothers and sisters. And to me, it really, really hurt my heart. As a humanitarian worker and as a human rights activist, I really just want to say, put this out there. I know a lot of the panelists have already said this, but we can't say it enough. We can't stress it enough. I'd like to clearly condemn the attack against human life. And the perpetrators who were trying to separate us and trying to hurt us as an entity, they have failed. They have only unified us. We stand stronger, we stand together, we stand more informed. And as one of the panels also mentioned earlier, this is actually shedding more light on the issues and the things that are going on in Afghanistan that many may not have heard of before. Allow me to share a poem by Sadi. I wanted to it's also stated in the UN wall, and it says, it goes like this. Bani Adam azay yekdigarand ke dar afarinesh ze yak gawharand chi uzv badard award rozgar digar uzhara namad qarar. This means that human beings are members of a whole, in creation of one essence and soul. If one member is afflicted with pain, other members uneasy will remain. If you've no sympathy for human pain, the name of human you cannot retain. This is by Sadi. Thank you so much for all your efforts. We're here for anything that we can absolutely do. I'll definitely get in touch with all the panelists as well so that we can extend our efforts. Thank you.
That's so beautiful. That was a very beautiful poem. It would be wonderful if you can add that to the link so we can share that with others. That was very relevant and very true to the cause of today. So I would like to now invite Spojmi Nasiri. She is the president of We Have Hope Foundation. She's an Afghan-American immigration lawyer and previously was the president of also of CARE. So please welcome Spojmi Nasiri.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening, and namaste to everyone. For me, when I heard about this terrorist act is what I would call it, it was heartbreaking because my husband and myself, we grew up with Pashto-speaking Sikh brothers and sisters. When we look at the history of Afghanistan, it's probably one of the most diverse and the most vibrant ethnically, culturally, religiously on the face of the earth. As was mentioned by one of the brothers earlier, we don't look at the Sikh brothers and sisters as Sikh or as Hindu or as Pashtuns or as Hazaras. We look at them as one entity, part of our fabric of what Afghanistan is made of. It's heartbreaking to have seen the devastation. I saw pictures of it, shared thoughts and concerns with my own family who grew up with, again, Pashto-speaking Sikhs here in the United States, in New York. When my husband first came to the United States, the first family that welcomed him into their home was Pashto-speaking Sikh family. And to this day, they communicate with them, they keep in touch with them. On behalf of the Afghan community, which is the largest outside of Afghanistan here in the Bay Area, and on behalf of the Afghan community across the country and the world, I wanted to share my sincere condolences to the families, to the extended family members living in Afghanistan and abroad. I had the opportunity to speak with a whole bunch of individuals inside Afghanistan or connecting with some of the government officials. There's so much misinformation, and so it's hard to rely on the information we're relying on, but the Afghan government is trying to provide as much security as they can. If you are aware of the history of Afghanistan, we have been fighting Taliban, ISIS, you name any forces, the Russians, the United States of 17 years of the turmoil that we're seeing right now. No one is safe at the hands of Taliban. No one is safe at the hands of ISIS. No one is safe at the barbaric acts that we are seeing. We are seeing children killed. My organization called We Have Hope Foundation, which is aiming to provide world-class Khan Academy Pashto project to children in Afghanistan to learn the language, the mathematics, and Pashto native. We have a hard time getting in. All of the nonprofit organizations have pulled out. So I think one of the sisters I mentioned was right now it's very difficult for our Sikh brothers and sisters to get out of Afghanistan. I just learned today from the State Department that all airlines have been, every private airline, including Afghan Airlines, Indian Airlines, nobody's able to fly out of Afghanistan. So that sort of makes the mission hard. But what I wanted to share was that the Afghan community here in the United States has been funding. There's one organization called Read to Lead Afghanistan, and it's partnered up with Solar Nadar, which is a solar system company. And they've already raised about 10 to 15,000 to distribute to Afghanistan. I'm not sure by which means they're going to do that. And there's another fundraiser on Facebook that I saw, which is also doing a fundraiser for our brothers and sisters in Afghanistan. So the solidarity, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the love and the passion is there. We are all part one, but we are living in a world of so much uncertainty, whether it's here in the United States. When there is when there's an attack by someone of Muslim faith, and my own faith and my faith is hijacked, the first people that get attacked are Muslim sisters and our Sikh brothers and sisters. So every day we are seeing the attacks, whether it's in the United States or abroad. And the way to combat that is to doing exactly what we're doing right now, coming together of all faiths, of all religions, of all cultures, and bringing the idea that we are one and that we are there for our community. My prayers go out to every single family in Afghanistan that is desperately trying to reach out. I cannot imagine what they're going through. First, they had lost their loved ones. Then they get bombed at the funeral services. Then their homes are locked in and they're kept there. But from what I'm hearing is that the passion, the support, and the love is there both from the Afghan community here in the United States, around the world, and especially in Afghanistan. And I wanted to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to be on this panel, to share my thoughts as an Afghan American, and to share our condolences and our prayers and our solidarity with the rest of the Sikh community. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Swojri. I just want to mention that she was one of the folks that's really helped me quite a bit to actually reach out, along with Farid Bhai and a few others. Farid Faruqi and Swojri were so forthcoming and supportive and said, we will do this together. And because of them, we actually were able to build such a great panel today of caring organizations. So with that, I'd like to now invite I believe you may, or I'm not sure if I said the name properly correctly before because we were a little bit, I think it was on mute, so I apologize. But Farhad Yousafzai is from the Afghan Cultural Association of San Francisco Bay Area. And he is, you know, a fellow humanist, and he is a fellow supporter of all rights. And I'm really happy to have met him. So please welcome Farhad Yousafzai.
Salamuna Unekehele, Namaste, and good evening to all ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for arranging such an event. On behalf of Afghan Culture Society, the board members of Afghan Culture Society and the president, Mr. Abdul Nasir Yassini, we seriously condemn the terrorist attack on our brothers Sikh community in Afghanistan, and we pass our and we present our condolence to all the Sikh community around the world. This attack is a clear indicator that for the enemies of Afghanistan, we all are equal. They are killing our Muslims brother in mosque. They are killing our Shia brothers in Takia Khana. They are killing our Sikh brothers in Gurdwara. The problem is the world and the people of Afghanistan know their enemies, know the source of the enemies. But unfortunately, the international community did not help us to fight the right source and defeat our enemies. But we, the people of Afghanistan, as much they kill us, as much they divide us, we will reunite it and we will defeat them by ourselves. The killing of Sikh community in Afghanistan was a tragedy. Believe us, we all are in shock and we all are like lost our own family members. They were Afghans, they were our brothers and sisters, and we will do whatever we can to protect them in future, to work with all of the organization and help them as much as we can. We once again request the international community, all the organization and the people of Afghanistan to stand together for this enemy, defeat them together, and let's work together to help our brothers and sisters back in Afghanistan. Leaving Afghanistan will be not the proper solution. We are all working for the human cause, and we are working equally for all the human beings. The human rights is equal for all the humans, not only for it's regardless of color, religion, and tribe. The minority of Afghanistan is the strength of Afghanistan. And we, on behalf of Afghan Culture Association in North California, we would like to offer all our help and support to make sure our fellow brothers and sisters back in Afghanistan are safe, they will remain safe, and they will support it. Thank you very much once again for all the help organizing such an event. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you joined us. I just want to let you know a few thoughts. When we discussed this today, you know, his first sentiment was, I need to pull our board together to see what can we do. And I was so very happy to hear that it was his natural instinct to say that we must work together. And I appreciate that he came today and represented his board. I would like to invite—
we will have a meeting in near future with our board members. And already we talked about, and we are working on that. And it's a very serious issue for our community, and we will work together to be successful, inshallah.
Thank you so much, inshallah. And, you know, just something he just said, I just wanted to bring this up again. You know, it is, of course, not only the Sikhs that are having these tragic events against them. Obviously, this is also the reality for those that are of minorities, the Hindu families, the Hazare families, and the Shiites and the Sunnis have been fighting with each other. The truth is that today it isn't about any of that. Today it is about the humanity that brings us all together and standing up for any of those that get oppressed. And we're so sorry for all those that have been lost before today. But if we don't stop today, and we don't stop this, we don't stand together today, and we don't stop this in the future, it'll never stop. And I think today I ask everybody to remember that is the reason we are here. And if anything that you want to do to support, there's a resource link in the directions of the details of the event that lists all the organizations that were on this call, all the work that they're doing, and for you to find ways in which you can help. But what matters the most is we must create a protective bubble around these families, because right now they're the ones who are drowning. And those that are drowning, we must pick them up and put them in the boat before we can fix the whole boat and maybe fix the whole, in this case, the whole country. But we got to start somewhere. And right now, this is the call of the hour, that we must act, we must save them by using our influence, by using our contacts, by using our resources. That is the only way we're going to create enough of a protective bubble so some action can be taken. Some of you on this call can help with the influence, with your contacts, with your resources. Others on this call may have the direct access to leaders in the government or even in the armed forces to support them and protect them. The point is we all have a role to play. So with that, I'd like to quickly allow some of our Sikh community organizations that are on the call as well to be able to share what they're doing and where they can use the help. So first, I'd like to invite Gundas Kaur. She's the Vice President of the World Sikh Organization of Canada, or known as WSO, located in Vancouver. And she was so kind when this was pulled together so fast. She said, whatever flexibility is required, I'm here. We got to work together. So please welcome Gundas Kaur.
Thank you for having me this evening. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'd like to begin by simply saying my condolences and prayers are also with the families that are affected by this latest attack. Our prayers in the Sikh faith take the form of action as well, which I'll highlight a little later. I'd also like to acknowledge that I'm speaking from just outside of Vancouver, and that I'm speaking on unceded territories of our Indigenous brothers and sisters. So I'm privileged to be able to work, live, and play in this space. I'm honored to be on the panel this evening, and it's been a privilege, absolutely, to hear the various speakers share their experiences and their memories and their friendships with their Afghan Sikh and Hindu brothers and sisters. So thank you for sharing that with all of us participating this evening. Just to give you a bit of background and to correct my introduction, I'm actually the Vice President from British Columbia for the WSO. We do have a national senior VP as well as our national president. The World Sikh Organization of Canada is a national not-for-profit organization with a mandate to promote and protect the interests of Canadian Sikhs, as well as to promote and advocate for the protection of human rights for all individuals, irrespective of race, religion, gender, ethnicity, and social and economic status. So I don't want to take up too much time because I know there are additional speakers. Our ask in this project that we've been working on since 2014, and in sync, I would say, with, we heard Terjinder Bhullar earlier, the Manmeet Singh Bhullar Foundation, as well as Manmeet Singh Bhullar himself, since 2015. Obviously, the organizations have different purposes, different mandates, but on this file, they do work in tandem and in solidarity with one another. So our ask, and given that in the Sikh faith, as I mentioned, our prayers take an action-based philosophy and approach, has been twofold, and it is to push the Canadian government to create a direct sponsorship program from Afghanistan for our Sikh and Hindu populations there, communities still there, similar to the program that they created for Syrian refugees during that crisis. And our second push is that the Canadian government expedite the process for and the files that have been completed for 44 families that are waiting to make their way to Canada and have been privately sponsored, that are living in India at the moment. So we're urging all of those standing in solidarity, all of those in the Sikh community, the Hindu community, the Afghan community, and globally, to email MPs and your political representatives and make that push for direct sponsorship possible. By no means in this ask do I mean to contradict the information of Terjinder Bhullar in any way. Obviously, we value the lives of our Afghan Sikh and Hindu brothers and sisters, as well as our brothers and sisters in Afghanistan, as well as other minority communities, and saving their lives is our key priority. To expedite this and make this process faster for those families living in imminent danger, as we've seen this past week, we are pushing the direct sponsorship route as much as possible to make that trip faster than the process of going through a third country. So those are our two asks. Those are our two prayers and our calls to action. And so we look forward to working with all of you and with everyone on this panel tonight, as well as the conversation. And again, it's been wonderful to participate here tonight. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Gundas. I think everybody will have a different approach, and I think that's what will help us. But I think what comes down to is that we're those that can streamline the resources. We continue to help each other, and we have now a few options, I think. And the amazing organizations that are on the call today, obviously now get to learn more about our Sikh organizations that are working on the subject, and I hope to explore that you will explore how you can potentially help them in this task. So moving forward, I'd like to invite Rajwant Singh of National Sikh Campaign. He is on the call as well, and he has been actively working on the subject of Sikh rights and education for many years. So please welcome Rajwant Singh. Are you able to hear us, Dr. Rajwant Singh? Well, we'll give you another minute or a few seconds, I should say. Can you guys hear us? Are you able to hear us, Dr. Rajwant Singh? I know he's on because he's texted me. So let me actually, hello? I think someone's trying to call. So give me a second, please. Let me see what I can do to help him get connected. He may be having some technical issues. In the meantime, let me also try to give an opportunity for Rod Chahal. He's our community leader of the Santa Clara city in Northern California, and he and I know each other very well, and I'm lucky to have an opportunity to work with him, and he's here with us. He's with the City Council of Santa Clara, and I'd like for him to share a few words. We can't hear you. You need to put your mic.
Okay. Is it good?
Yep.
It's better now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Harbir, and thank you everybody joining us for the vigil. And I know all are joining this thing not unhappy note, but in a way we can help each other. And as other speakers have said, this is sad story what has happened to the Sikhs in Afghanistan. And we all know that humanity is the best religion, irrespective of what has happened to Sikhs or anybody in Afghanistan. It's not acceptable. And we as a community, whether we are Sikh, Hindus, Muslim, Christians, we have to come together and make sure such instances do not happen anywhere in the world. And Afghanistan in particular has gone through a lot since so many years, since 80s and Taliban movement, and before that Russian invasion. So it's they have seen a lot of it. And within Afghanistan, our community has now suffered a lot. So these are the steps we need to take. And I'm sure so many suggestions have come from Canada and other stuff. I think from our perspective, we can contact our diplomatic consul general in San Francisco, and if they can move and do anything on the government of India front, and I'll be happy to contact Consul General Sanjay Panda over here if he can do anything, and from Consul General perspective. And I remember, like, I studied back home in India, in Haryana. I have Hindu friends, and then coming back to university, I had a very good friend who was Sayyid Tura. He was from Afghanistan, and he settled in Canada right now. But we all as a human being are so well connected, so well respected, but it's the small number of people who are creating this issue. And look at on the panel, how many of these people are from different religions, and they are all for the humanity and the peace for the world. And I agree with all the speakers that these Sikhs are Afghanis first, and they treat Afghanistan as their homeland, and they did not deserve this thing, what has happened to them. And no community, no member of the world deserve such inconveniences. We all have to learn from the nature, rain or sunshine, it's all for everybody, not for Sikhs or not for Muslims. In a sense, it does not discriminate. So let's learn from the nature that everything, even the calamities like coronavirus, is not seeing whether I'm a Sikh or a Muslim or a Hindu. It's impacting each one of us, and how we are getting together. All of us are getting together to fight that thing. And so what I would say, let's get together in this hour of turmoil and help, whatever help we can give to our community back home in Afghanistan. And I would say Kabir's words, Aval Allah Nur Upaye, Kudrat ke sab bande, Ek Nur te sab jag upjaya, Kaun pale kaun mande. So we are all one in the community. So with that, thank you very much, Harbir, for giving me a chance to speak. And I'm also Rajwant Chahal. So another Rajwant is online probably. He will be coming soon. Thank you. Harbir? Hello?
Harbiji, if you're trying to talk, you're on mute.
Thank you. That helps to know that. Yes, I was just saying if Paul Singh Bhatia could join us, please. He's next on the line, and he said that he's on. Paul Singh Bhatia is with the United Sikhs Association, and they are world known for their humanitarian efforts, specifically often related to food and water, and of course always really working towards supporting those in any crisis. You've probably heard of them at Puerto Rico. They were supporting Houston during Katrina, but United Sikhs Association has been known always there, and others like them, as Khalsa Aid that many have heard of. They're also very much prominent in working together to support crisis moments. So Paul Singh Bhatia is trying to do a call through the phone, and I'm sure if you guys can hear him, I'm not able to hear him, but if not, then I will actually keep his information available to you. They're doing a fundraiser, and they have launched that fundraiser onto the Facebook page, as well as it's in the resource file. And they are looking to work with other organizations. I think they're working with the Polar Foundation and WSO, but at the same time, they're trying to work with organizations that actually already are on the ground. So if any of the organizations here, the Afghan organizations, are able to support them and help them work with an existing organizations or groups that are within Afghanistan, I think they're looking for that as a partnership, since we all know that they're unable to send funds directly. But if any of your organizations are able to support them, that would be greatly appreciated. And I'm going to try again yes? Is somebody trying to talk?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Herbie. This is Paul Bhatia.
You made it. Well, welcome. Please go ahead.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening and Sat Shri Akal to everybody. Herbie has given a good introduction about United States. I just want to mention one more thing, that we are the only Sikh organization which is recognized and affiliated to UNO. We have been working with UNO.
Themselves, please. Thank you so much.
We have been working with UNO, and we have worked like many people know. And I'm surprised that ISIS did this to us. As a matter of fact, we spent about 7 months in Bangladesh helping Rohingya Muslims, and ISIS people were there. Being American, we didn't want to connect with them, but that's what it was. And we have been to Syria, Bangladesh, all over Middle East. And it's so unfortunate that this has happened to Sikhs in Afghanistan, and our Afghanistani brothers, they love their country. They don't want to leave there, but they have no choice. They have been given 10 days ultimatum to get out of there. So over this meeting, solidarity meeting won't be over today, won't be complete if we don't go out and tell other people what Afghani Sikhs are going through. And we have links in Pakistan, we have links in Indian government where we are trying, and we want to work as a team and get these things done, get these people out as soon as possible. One thing I want to tell all the Afghani as well as other interfaith associations, that it's not an easy job. We will need lots of funds to get all these families out. If you can help all these organizations, I don't care which organization you go through, but please come out and help. And with these words, I will ask for an excuse. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you very much. And the last person was to join. I think it's gotten way too late for him. He's on the other side of the country as well. As I said, Dr. Rajwant Singh, and his information is there as well. So I think you've heard from 4 Sikh or 5 Sikh organizations today and the work that they're doing. And I think, again, as to echo Paul Singh's words, it is really going to take a collective effort. It will require resources. It will require you to tell your friends. this cannot stop. Again, we cannot let the last 75 Sikh and Hindu families come to an end. And it is the beginning of our relationship in saving all those that might be dealing with this issue. But right now, the call of the hour is that we must help our Sikh and Hindu families that are left behind, who are at their end. And I just got some news that some of the dead bodies have made it to India for cremation, because it's so unsafe for the families to even to be able to cremate there. And Anarkali has been trying to call in. She cannot keep a signal long enough to be able to share her firsthand experiences that are happening in Afghanistan right now. She's the minority senator of Afghanistan, and she has been trying for some time, but I've gotten note through our Chardi Kala Times TV network partners that they have been notified that the bodies have been now sent and received in India, at least some of them, for safe cremation, which is really sad that at a time that even in such a situation, one cannot even grieve their loss and then give them the proper final rites. But with that, I know that there are other very prominent leaders on this call. If anybody would like to say any final words that has not spoken yet, that are in the attendees list, I see Biki Singh, I see Farouk Bhai, he's there as well, and I think Fareed Bhai is there as well. If there's anybody else that would like to say anything, please let us know. I think I would love to hear from Fareed Farouki if he has a minute.
Yeah, thank you, Harbir. Thank you so very much for having me on to this. And first of all, our heartfelt condolences to the Sikh community in Afghanistan, and for people over here as well, to the families, the victims of the carnage that took place. It's very sad. It's horrific. It should not happen. This is not who we are as human beings or people of faith, whether it is Muslim, Sikh, or Hindu, or anyone else. So our deepest condolences and heartfelt feelings and prayers for the victims and the people who lost their lives and those that are left behind. I am the founder of Universal Heritage and Research Center. We are a cultural platform for working together as people, we are as people. But I want to appreciate what Harbir has done. It has been a painstaking process to put this vigil together. Working along with her has been a pleasure. Thank you to Vicky to introducing us together on this. And I appreciate all the folks that came on board on a very short notice to share your thoughts, your feelings, your support and solidarity to this issue that is very pertinent. While we deal with the COVID-19 issues of the virus, we also have to take care of people that are in harm's way and who are being marginalized and they are being displaced. So I think the Sikh people, along with the rest of the Afghan people, whether they're Hindus, whether they're Muslims, they're all going through the same thing in different ways. We need to extend our hand, but for those that are of immediate need, I think we need to do that. I appreciate the time and the opportunity given to me to participate, and I'm here in any way possible to help in this effort going forward. Thank you so very much. God bless you.
Thank you so very much. At the end of this, I want to make sure you see the list of resources that are available to you. So please allow me to share those with you for those that are watching on Facebook and for those that are watching on Chardi Kala Times TV. This information is available as well for you. So please do observe the links that I'm about to share with you. These are all the organizations that you have heard from today that are willing to unite and put their step forward and lend a hand in helping us, save these families and continue this partnership of solidarity. So if you can see my screen, which you should be able to see in any second now, you will see a list of organizations. I think you can hopefully see these on my screen. These are all the organizations that have come together today, and they are listed in the description again of the event. We have about 20 organizations, Agungar Bridges, Sikh Lands, a Universal Heritage and Research Center, the Afghan Living in DC Area, Afghan Cultural Society, the Afghan American Muslim Outreach, the WSO, the Islamic Shura Council of Southern California, SALDEF, Sahaita, North American Sikh Medical and Dental Association, Gursikh Speed Meeting, CARE California, CARE LA, and CARE SF. Even I think Zahra Bilu is on the call. Islamic Society of Orange County, Canada Parliament, Shura Council headquartered in Orange County, the Muslim Aid Organization, We Have Hope Foundation, Manmeet Singh Puller Foundation, Shura Council of Southern California, Chardi Kala Time TV, and Sikhs for Humanity. And there's so many more that I am not able to document today. But what matters most is that you have now been a part of a platform. And when you build a platform of trust like this, we can really literally do anything. Whatever we choose to build on it is our choice. But today we built a platform of trust, a platform of solidarity, on which if we do not take steps forward, that will be shame on us. Because today is the beginning of this new platform. And I really pray to God, in whatever way we say, that we must stand for each other, for one another, because without each other, we will not exist. And again, I thank Farid Bhai, I thank Shpoji, I thank Samina Usman, I thank Biki Singh, I thank so many of you, and also Gurpreet Kaur Padam, Dr. Gurpreet Kaur Padam, who has really brought a lot of the other organizations together as well. So thank you for joining us today, and God bless. Your call to action is influence, share, support, and help protect these families that are left